Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to take a look at a really interesting deck I've been seeing doing around on Limitless, and that is Dragapult with the Dunsparce. As if Dragapult really needed more draw. Yeah, this is a very interesting deck and we will be taking a look at it. So as per usual, in the description below there's going to be usual links. Double the deck list, which is also available to copy in the description below. There's the games that we'll play, and of course the outro and what I think of the deck, as well as a link to my Discord server as per normal. So, we're revisiting another Dragapult deck. I've still got another one that I need to do, my Starmie version. That'll probably come later this week, I will say. But, yeah, this is a really interesting deck, because it's basically what happens if you give Dragapult a lot more draw. And, well, the answer is quite... well, as you'd expect, it's quite broken, as you can imagine. Now, obviously, we're playing more like straight pull, but I've chucked in a couple of candies just so we can utilise that draw power a bit better. The original list I was playing was a non-candy build, and it felt perfectly fine, but I think, you know, capitalising on what we have just makes sense to me. But also, you know, they weren't... well, the original list that I found wasn't playing Moltres, wasn't playing Clefairy, so I chucked those in as well. I've tried to make this list my own, obviously, with adding things like a third Dunsparce, and, you know, adding in a few other tech cards and things like that. And so far, it's been pretty good. So, of course, we do have Moltres in here. Moltres is really seeing a lot of play at the minute, and if you're playing Fire Energy in a deck, you'd be dumb not to play this card. But of course, we do have the Dudunsparce and the EX Dudunsparce. Now, the Dudunsparce EX is not really something we use a lot, but it is very good for two things: dealing with Mega Box and dealing with Crustal. Crustal's HP is exactly 150, and yeah, it takes a bit to set this guy up. But this attack's damage isn't affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. In other words, it's a shred attack. And then of course Tenacious Tail for just a colourless, so it doesn't matter what energy. This attack does 60 damage for each of your opponent's Pokemon EX in play. This is a really good attacker, and obviously it's relatively bulky for a stage 1 as well. And of course it's a 2-prizer, not a 3-prizer, so we do have something decent in that regard. But of course it wouldn't be a Dragapult deck without a couple of Munkidoris in it, and also the Clefairy, which I'm very surprised the original list I found was not playing a Clefairy. But to be fair, it seems like Lucario's been dropping off a little bit, and the Pult Mirror is literally just who Phantom dies first, and goes from there, really. But honestly, this Clefairy is really good to have in the deck. Another thing the original list wasn't playing is a Latias. Now, you'll notice I'm not playing Bidoof in my version. Most lists run at least one Bidoof. Personally, in this particular build, I've never needed the Bidoof. I've never really needed to slow the opponent down. But, you know, there might be a time where we can consider Bidoof, but for now, I'm not going to be playing it. But anyway, let's go to the deck list, and let's have a proper look. Welcome to the deck list. As I said, I've tried to make this list a bit more personal to me, because there was a few things that this list, when I originally found this list, obviously there are now updated lists on Limitless from as of today, as of recording, but it is one of those decks that, like, there's quite a few ways in which you can adapt it. Now, personally, I don't think you need 3 Dunsparce. This is definitely where I'd make a cut and put in possibly a 4th Poké Pad. This 3rd Dunsparce is only really here to just make sure we can actually use Dunsparce. I tend to do this in some of my videos, where I'll play an extra copy of a card just to make sure. And if you are going to cut this Dunsparce, add a 3rd Pult. I think adding a 3rd Pult would just give you more options in the matchup, and it just makes a little bit more sense that way. If you didn't want to add a 2nd or a 3rd Pult, add a Blood Moon Ursaluna into this list. I think it would be really nice with the triple boss, and obviously decent energy recovery, and also, you know, the fact that we're playing 9 energy. I think having a Blood Moon in this list would be pretty nice, but like I say, for now, I'm going to stick to 3 Dunsparce just for the sake of this video. So of course we've got 4 Dreepy, 4 Drakloak, 2 Dragapults, 3 Dunsparce, 2 Dudunsparce, 1 Dudunsparce EX, 2 Munkidoris, 1 Meowth, 1 Clefairy, 1 Fez, 1 Moltres, and 1 Latias. Then of course 4 Lillies, 3 Boss, 2 Crispin, 2 Dawn, 1 Petrel. I'm surprised more lists aren't playing this because you can cherry pick your stamp or whatever. 4 Buddy Poffin, 3 Poké Pad, 2 Ultra Ball, 2 Night Stretcher, 2 Rare Candies, 1 Unfair Stamp as our Ice Spec, 2 Risky Ruins as our Stadiums, 4 Fire, 3 Psychic, and 2 Dark. Honestly, I really don't have many complaints about this list. Like I said, you can definitely cut this third this Dunsparce. I don't think you need 3. It's more of a case of, you know, it's an extra option for us in a matchup. Because obviously when you prize a Dunsparce, you still have your Drakloak engine at the end of the day. But obviously in some matchups, you're going to need your Dudunsparce EX. And obviously that cuts off a potential Dudunsparce with Runaway Draw. So that's another reason to play 3 of these. But, you know, other than that really, there isn't really anything that I would say is out of place here. You could go up to a 3rd Ultra Ball as well, swapping a Dunsparce for that. That is definitely an option. You could definitely cut a Fire Energy and go down to 8 Energy, which, you know, that is something risky, but some port lists are doing it. There's a lot of option with this list, and honestly, really enjoying the list so far. So, let's go into a match and see how we do. Alright, welcome to our first match. We're up against someone named Havoc the Husky. I hope it is a dog playing Pokemon, because that would be rather adorable, as someone who loves dogs. But, yeah, hopefully we're not going to have to take this dog to the pound if he, you know, gets a bit feisty with us. I've been making a lot of puns in the last few videos, and I'm sure some of you appreciate it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing this deck, because, you know, it's definitely got a lot about it in terms of, like, you know, what it can do. But it's one of those decks that you don't really think about when it comes to, you know, like, what it would bring to the table, so to speak. And we've got an Applin. This could be Festival Lead. We will soon find out. Buddy Poffin. If we see a Grookey, that's when we know it's Festival Lead. Anything else other than that, we start to get a bit concerned. But I would imagine it's Festival Lead. No! Just the one of the Buddy Poffin? I don't know if that's correct, but I mean, it's your deck, not mine. And we get another Poffin off the top. Excellent. So I'll tell you straight away, we've got all our Dunsparces. We've prized a Drakloak. We've not prized any of our Duns, so that's good. That's all fine. We've got 1 Lilies in the prize cards. We've got our Petrel plus Stamp. Excellent. And we've got 1 Fire and 1 Psychic in the prizes. Something to keep in mind. So we'll play another one. We'll get down... Do we get down double Dreepy? I don't think we need to. We'll just grab another Dunsparce. And I think we just play Crispin and just get energy on the board. Because then we can Dawn next turn. So we'll do that. And we will pass. I think that's a pretty reasonable turn there. You know, I'd rather play Crispin because then we're setting up multiple energy. We're not just, you know... we're not just putting nothing on the board. I'd rather try and set up some energy. There's a Bayleaf. Teal Dance. Is this just Hydrapple then? Because Hydrapple shouldn't be too tricky for us. The only thing we obviously have to watch is, you know, the fact that they can obviously nuke us, but I hope they do a tumbling attack. I would have much... Yes, they're doing it. Yes, go on. Oh, they don't get the heads and only doing 10. Unfortunate, but I'd love to see dumb attacks like this, so respect to my opponent. There's a boss, but we are going to Dawn turn. I'm actually going to grab the Dunsparce. I'll take Moltres and I'll take Polt. This is a bit of a risk not grabbing, you know, not grabbing a Drakloak here, but yeah, we did not pay off for that. I can always just go into Dunsparce, it's fine. So I'll play Buddy Poffin. I kind of wish I didn't, you know, do that play now. I can bench Moltres and attach a Fire Energy, and we can pass. Because if they take out this Dunsparce, I'm not particularly worried. Because I can boss this Teal Mass for 2 prizes, and I'm pretty happy to do that. But yeah, we definitely should have grabbed Drakloak there, but obviously I wanted to use the Dunsparce, because, you know, it's part of the deck after all. But hopefully we can take advantage of our Moltres up trading into this matchup. We'll soon find out. We just gotta hope they don't find a boss for the Moltres, because then it could get messy. Even if they do, we can use Fez, so it's not a big deal. But obviously we are down another fire energy to consider, so we've only got one fire left in deck. But hopefully, they just continue to tumbling attack. There's a Dawn. So they're going to get Meganium established. That's assuming they don't have the Forest in hand, mind you. And like I say, if they do that, I can just boss the Teal Mask. Ooh, they've got the Diplin. Okay. Now, do they play Festival Grounds as their stadium? Because then it could get a little messy. There's another Teal Mask. Do they play Festival Grounds? If they don't, that's fine, because I can promote Moltres for turn and bench Fez. Then we can boss this Teal Mask for 2 prizes. I'm pretty happy if they're not even knocking us out. Okay, that's pretty good for us, actually. But that top deck is not so much. We have to pass, unfortunately. Our hand is very much dead. Hopefully we get to use another Dunsparce during this game, because, well, that's part of the deck. I will say, you know, like, having only 2 Ultra Ball is definitely something that I'm considering up into a 3rd, like I said in the intro part. But I'm not too worried, because like I said, I can gust this Teal Mask anytime I like. And if he gusts the Moltres to attack it early with Diplin, I'm completely fine with that. He could also retreat the Diplin and go to Teal Mask, but then, you know, I can respond with that. And if he takes a single prize on this Dunsparce, I don't really care, you know? There's Hydrapple. So how much damage are you actually doing? I don't actually know. There's a Poké Pad. So, it's 30 plus 30. So, 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210, 240, 270. Yeah, 330. That thing's hitting like a freight train. But luckily, we can uptrade, which is what this deck can do very well. Well, there's Ultra Ball, so we can grab ourselves a Fez now. Well, not Fez. Drakloak is what I meant. I've had a long day in the office. Well, I say in the office. I've been at work today, and my brain's a little bit all over the place, I'll be honest, but still. There's Stamp. That's pretty good. So we can boss the Teal Mask, bench the Fez, and Stamp. Because now we're cutting off some of their draw, which is pretty good. There's a Dudunsparce, so that's also pretty good. Well then, flip the script. I would have liked another Drakloak off of that, but it's fine. We can run away draw. Excellent, that's what we like to see. So we'll evolve this one. We can then recon. There's another Dudunsparce, I would definitely take that. Do I Poké Pad for 1 in deck, or do I just Night Stretcher for 1 or 2? I think I just Night Stretcher for 1 or 2. Because then I can re-establish this. And yeah, we'll just fight in wings for 220 because of weakness, and take out the Teal Mask. My only concern is, obviously, you know, this thing can still hit like a truck, and I'm very concerned about that. If push comes to shove, I can take out the Meganium, but the problem is they've got a Bay Leaf already established. But I mean, if I can use Moltres to uptrade, I'm pretty happy to do so. And if I need to attack with Pole, I will, because I'll do 200 damage to this, and then Moltres can clean it up later. But obviously, they don't know I have another boss in hand for that Teal Mask, so, you know, that's something they have to consider. But of course, in a matchup like this, even taking out the Meganium means pretty much nothing. I have to focus on their 2 prizes. So how much damage are they doing right now? So 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210. So they're doing 210 right now. They can take out Fez. Yeah, it doesn't stack that way, my friend. I think most of us wish it did. They got a Ripening Charge. Attach it to the Meganium. They're going to attach. I think they're doing that to prevent Retreat Lock. And yeah, they're just going to Hydrapple for the knockout. Okay. This is where things get a little bit scary, but we should be okay here. Okay, there's a Munkidori. Munkidori is kind of irrelevant right now. So I'm going to evolve to the Dunsparce. I'm going to Night Stretcher back that Moltres. I'll bench him. Evolve to Drakloak. Recon. There's a Dudunsparce, but it does nothing for me. Crispin does get me the last fire in deck, but I don't really want to play that right now. Dark Energy. Then Recon again. Ultra Ball. I mean, I still have Fez draw, so it's not a big deal. So we'll Fez first. We're seeing a lot of cards this turn, and this is sort of what this deck is made to do. Okay. We have whiffed, but it should be okay. Because what I can do here is I can Crispin for that fire. I can then set up another attacker in the process. So, we'll Crispin for the fire. And we also get another energy type, which is nice. So I'll grab the Psychic. So we'll go Psychic to hand. Fire to the Moltres. Attached to the Drakloak there. I want to Ultra Ball away some of these dead cards, because Munkidori is kind of irrelevant in this matchup. Because they're just going to one-shot my stuff. See how much... We're doing 220, aren't we? So, technically, the Dunsparce EX is a good pick here. Because it's a single prize attack that we can... Well, a single attack that we can use. So then we'll Poké Pad for a Dunsparce. Bench it. And then Fighting Wings 220. The only problem with this turn is if obviously they Gust the Fez, but even then we'll just stay single prize. If they Gust Fez, it's fine, because we'll just use the Moltres to finish this off. And then we can wrap up the game with something like, you know, Clefairy plus, I don't know, Crispin. Well, then again, we've used both our Crispin, but in fairness, we have double pull established, so I'm not too worried. There's another Teal Mask. Ideally, I want them to not Gust the Fez, because if they take out Moltres, we can attack with Pult this turn, set up the Teal Mask for another Pult, and go from there. So overall, I'm not too worried. But it is definitely getting a bit squeaky bum time, that's for sure. They've got a boss, so they're going to go for the Fez. That's probably the worst case scenario, but we should be okay. Because now, like I said, I just keep my board to the point where, you know, he can't really do much about it. So I don't really need to draw with my dudes right now, but for the purpose of things, I will. Risky Ruins. That is actually quite helpful. The problem is we're throwing away our monkeys, but that means anything future that they bench could be vulnerable to Pult. I think for now, we just evolve to the Pult. Because obviously I need to kill this Hydrapple this turn, otherwise we just lose. So, based off of that instance, I don't think I need this, but I'll put Psychic here just so I have that ready. And then yeah, we'll Phantom Dive for 200, and we put 3 on each Ogerpon. Because if they bench another, the Dunsparce EX can win us the game with that Dark Energy in hand. That's my thought process anyway. He has to promote this Teal Mask. And even then, we do have game with Moltres. It's just, can he hit enough to get into Pult? There's Judge. This is going to be close, I will say, even with our techs and stuff like that. I could have attacked with Moltres, but, you know, they can still boss the Dragapult. I'd rather get value out of my Pult. And also, I'm setting up his Pokemon for game, potentially. So let's see. Teal Dance, so how much does he need? So hold on, 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210, 240, 270. So he needs another 1 energy. He needs another energy, I think. If I've done my maths right. Might not have done, but I don't know. I would imagine he's got another energy. These decks tend to play a lot. Oh, I think the secret box gets him it. Does he have a Night Stretcher? Or something like that? Because Because I think he only needs one more energy or like an energy switch. Energy search, yeah, that gets him it, I think. Let me just double check my works. 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210, 240, 270. Yeah, he's got it. That's game, unfortunately. If I'd have known he'd have played Secret Box for turn, I would have attacked with Moltres, but obviously I don't know my opponent's board state. And even then, we wouldn't have been able to do anything because he'd have taken out the Moltres and we wouldn't have had any damage counters on the thingamabobs, the Tealmass. So the Dunsparce EX would have been irrelevant there. But you know what? I'll take that for a first game. Let's go to a game 2. And welcome back to game 2. That was an unfortunate loss there to Tealmass Ogerpon with the Hydrapple. That's the main thing that you need to be careful of in this sort of like environment, is that the issue is there we didn't really have many choices. And you can kind of see why I said a Blood Moon Ursaluna would be quite good for this deck. Because what we could have done there is we could have kept our board single prize, attack with Moltres to finish off the Hydrapple. They then judge, and we didn't really have a way to obviously search our Blood Moon, but like we could very easily, you know, modify the list slightly to, you know, search out the Blood Moon a little bit easier. But honestly, I can't really complain about that game. That was pretty fun. Alright, so let's see what we're facing. It's a Port Mirror. Okay. They're probably going to play Badoo, but that's fine. Are they going first or second? They're going first. That's fine. We do have Lilies. Wait, what the hell is this doing in here? Bronzor in a Pulp deck? Okay. I'm not sure what this is for. There's only one thing that comes to mind. And if you're playing that, you're evil. But I respect the hustle. Alright. Let's see what we get off the top. It's a Dawn. That's fine. So we'll go Buddy Poffin, grab these two. So we've got a Drakloak in the prizes, we've got a Pult in hand, so that's nothing to worry about. We've got a Dunsparce in the active, so that's fine. We've got no monkeys in the prizes, so that's good. Monkey's going to be important in this matchup. We've got a Lilies in hand, we've got a Dawn in hand, Stamps in there. Risky Ruins isn't too relevant, and we've got no energy prized. Excellent, that's what I like to see. Alright, so then we'll go attach Dreepy and Lilies. Like I said, I have a feeling I know what this Bronzor represents here. I will bench a Monkey, because obviously we can go Candy Pult, which is nice. And I'll pass. We can go Candy Pult Crispin to get this Dunsparce out of the active. But like I said, if it's what I think it is, you are evil, and I hope it's not it. I really hope it isn't it, but we're going to find out sooner or later, aren't we, folks? But yeah, I'm kind of hoping that it isn't what I think it is. I think it's the Psychic Bronzong, and it stops evolutions. Okay, it's another Drakloak. That's fine, I can live with that. That's fine. Recon. He's not played a supporter for turn yet. There's another Monkey. And what's your last card in hand? A Boss. That's fine, I can still get it out the active. And I get Monkey value, so that's even better. Alright, so we're going to do that. We'll play the Crispin. We'll go... We need Psychic and Dark. So we'll go Psychic to hand. Dark to the Monkey, because now we get Monkey value, which is always lovely. So, we'll use Monkey first. We'll get it off the Dreepy with the energy. We'll put it on this Drakloak. We'll go Candy, Dragapult. Retreat. Into the Dragapult. And then Recon for additional cards. We'll get a Lilies. We can save that for next turn. Do I want to bench a Moltres? Not particularly. So we will Phantom Dive for 200 damage. We'll put 5 on this Drakloak and 1 on the other. So that takes out that Bronzor and 1 of his draw power. And yeah, he's just going to scoop it up. I don't blame him, you know. Normally the Dunsparce lists aren't playing Candy, but you can kind of see why I wanted to tech in a couple of Candy. you just have the extra burst potential. And yeah, I knew it was that one, you little bugger. Because, yeah, this thing completely stops evolutions, and then obviously you could just Phantom Dive like basics with obviously Munkidoris. I respect the hustle, but you definitely played a bit too much in your hand. You definitely should have kept some of the cards in your hand. But yeah, spicy list though. I do like the idea, but I don't know if it's going to be like the most effective compared to, you know, a standard straight pull. But maybe something we can look into in the future. So, let's go to game 3. And welcome back to game 3. That was a really fun game there against the Pult Mirror with the Bronzong, which I had a feeling it was that. The moment I saw the Bronzor, I had a feeling, and I was like, is that what they'd really play? I mean, I get the idea, you know, you stop evolutions and stuff like that. I think they just played... I think they played expecting me to not play candies, because obviously most straight port lists don't. But me, I like playing straight port with a couple of candy, like just normally anyway. And honestly, it's definitely something to consider, you know, like a couple of candy just to, you know, turbo into a pult. Alright, we do start the Latias, which I'm more than happy to do so. And we have Grimmsnarl, and they're going first. Really shouldn't have started the Latias then, but, well, Latias is a safe starter anyway in most situations, because, you know, free retreat is just really nice to have. What more can I say? They mentioned 2 Pokemon straight away. I bet you this is a Badoo in the active spot. Mark my words. We'll take that mulligan. No! It is a Snorunt. Alright. Let's see what you've got for me then, Chief. Grimmsnarl is pretty tough for Pult, if memory serves. And this particular variant actually has ways to like play around the Grimmsnarl matchup. But, you know, Munkidori is nice and all. But they play 4, we play 2. And we play 2 dark. They play 9, I believe it is. So, you know, this isn't definitely something that, you know, guarantees you the matchup, but it's definitely something to consider. And yeah, they're grabbing a Badoo pretty much instantly. And there's the Spikemuth Gym. They're going to Spikemuth Gym early, interestingly enough. They're going to grab a Morgrim. Alright. Do you have an energy to retreat the Snorunt, even though you're going first? That is a yes. They don't really need to do... I was going to say, they don't need to retreat into the Badoo now. That actually makes things easy for me if they did that, because I'd just attack them with Moltres. But anyway. So we'll play the Dreepy down. We'll play Dawn for turn. We will take Dreepy... I think we just take a Pult line, to be honest. We have got a Pult in the prize cards, which that could get ugly if that's the case. In terms of other dudes, not looking too bad. Got our monkeys in there, we're going to need them, that's for sure. Obviously we're playing a Dawn now, and energy, we have prized a Dark Energy. That could be quite tough for us. But anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So we'll grab a Dunsparce. Do that. See, we're going to get Badooed. I'm tempted to grab Moltres, but it's like, Moltres loses its value in that regard, and I can always just Dragon Headbutt it if I really need to. So I'm going to Ultra Ball away you and you. I'm going to grab, I think I just grab another Dreepy, because I don't really need the Dunsparces in this matchup. So I think we'll just do that. I'll attach to a Dreepy, and I'll pass. I probably should have played the Poké Pad to grab a second Drakloak, but like, I don't know, because they might have hand destruction for all I know. And, well, I don't really want to be dealing with that. There's a Morgrim. Spikemuth. If they did not have any hand destruction, I'm really regretting playing this Poké Pad now, but, you know, it's unfortunate, but we will deal with it, hopefully. There's the Morgrim. Yeah, this is... I really wish I'd have played this Poké Pad now, but again... I wasn't to know, you know. I know they can go into a Badoo, like, because I have an entire port line in my hand and they know that, they may not necessarily know I have a Poké Pad. But still, they can retreat the Snorunt, go into the Badoo, and obviously item lock me, which, we can deal with. We don't really mind that. That's if, obviously, they're going to continue playing, because at the minute they're not doing anything. which is odd because you literally have 2 of your stage 1s. You know, you have a good setup here. The only thing that I'd probably say is bad about your setup is, you know, the Badoo is very vulnerable to some of the cards in my deck. The Punk Helmet's interesting, I will say. There's a Petrel coming down. Grabbing a Lillies. Alright, that's fine. And Itchy Pollen. The damage isn't too relevant on Latias because obviously it hits for weakness anyway, but still. Alright, well that Night Stretch is useless. Like I said, I'm regretting not playing that Poké Pad now if I'd have known their hand was like that, but you live and learn. And there we go. We immediately bailed out by a Lilies. Cheers, love. God, that was proper British then, Jesus. We're not really doing a lot past that though. We're obviously item locked, but I'm gonna have to leave Latias in the active. I can give them a Dunsparce, but it's like, what more do I really do outside of that? Like, they're gonna Lilies for 8, you know. Yes, I'm losing 2 prizes here, but realistically, I can get them back quite quickly. We can obviously heal our Dunsparces, which obviously they'll put damage on them. But yeah, I think giving them Latias is okay here, you know, like, I'm not too worried. The main issue is this Punk Helmet. That's gonna cause me issues. I'm not happy about seeing a Punk Helmet, but, you know, I can't really do anything about it. I mean, they're playing multiple monkeys. But still, they're going to get a retreat off. They're going to go into the Grimstyle, and they're going to play their Lilies. No! They're bossing Drakloak. Ooh, I don't agree with that, Chief. I really don't agree with that. That just seems a bit rough, don't it? Why would you boss the Drakloak? And then put 30 on the Latias, you hit him for weakness. I don't know. I mean, it's your deck at the end of the day. I'm not going to judge you for it, but that's definitely not the play I'd have liked. Alright, so we're going to play a Poké Pad. Grab ourselves as a Dun. Evolve the Dun. Stamp. We're only giving them 2 cards anyway, but still. That is terrible. That is a pretty terrible stamp for us, but we do still have support for turn at the very least. I'm going to thin this Dunsparce because obviously we are doing double runaway draw here. So runaway draw. Okay, not what I wanted to see, to be honest. Runaway draw. Team Rocket's Petrel, that's not good right now. I might have to play Dawn for turn and just give them Dunsparce, which I'm fine with. I'm completely fine with. I can get a monkey established, which is good. I'm going to attach here. I think I just play Dawn for turn and set up a Drakloak, but then again, yeah, I think it's my best move. I'll go Drakloak, Dragapult, Fez. Because Fez sees me more cards as well. So we'll Poké Pad. We'll have a Drakloak. Do that. That's the Fez or Drakloak. Normally you Fez first, but to be fair, in this situation, I'm just trying to see as many cards. It doesn't hugely matter right now. The fire's fine to see. Flip the script. Okay, let's see. I'm going to give them Dunsparce. And just hope the stamp delays them a little bit. Because at the minute, this is not looking good. If they have boss for that Drakloak, it's okay, I would say, because, you know, we can Crispin and then obviously Dragapult, but it's like, I want to get a Dark Energy on my monkey this turn, ideally, because obviously we're going to get Frostlast here. He's going to Spike Mirth, because what we can do now is we can Munkidori onto that onto the, I lost my throat then. I'm just trying to think, because we're losing this Dunsparce, we could actually get double monkey established if we're lucky. I hope that last card in hand is not a boss, because that would be annoying. But hopefully it's not. I swear, if it is a boss, I'm going to be fuming, but still. There's Shadow Bullet. They keep hitting Latias, which is definitely not the right idea. You really shouldn't be hitting Latias in this situation. But hopefully, we can find that second Dark Energy. But then again, didn't we have one prize? I'm fairly certain we did. But okay, I'm going to check with Poffin, because I think we had a Dark Energy in the prize cards. We do. That's fine, though, because I can still Crispin here. I can still Crispin, get Monkey set up, and then obviously, you know, attack with Pult this turn. So, we'll Crispin first, because we thin the deck that way. We'll go Psychic to hand. Dark to the Monkey. Then we attach Psychic for turn. Recon. We'll see some extra cards first. Bump in the Stadium. Sure. It gives us extra monkey math at the end of the day. So we're recycling Dunsparces. They're not. It's just if they start picking down the Dunsparces, that could be an issue. So then we'll go Dragapult. Adrenabrain off the Pult. Do we take out Badoo now, or do we just set up Snorunt? I mean, I could take out Frostlass. I'm not worried about this Badoo at all. I could take out Frostlass and give them less counters. So I think that's what we do here. So we've got Dreepy Drakloak. I could Night Stretcher a Drakloak or a Dreepy back. But I'm tempted to bench second Monkey. I think it's fine to do that. So we'll Fez for 3. Drakloak. It doesn't really matter what order we do this. We're not looking for anything in particular. We'll take that for later. Then we'll free retreat into the Dragapult. Phantom Dive for 200. Take the knockout. And take out that Frostlass. We want to try and limit their options here. Because even with the Shadow Bullet, you know, moving damage up, and obviously the Punk Helmet here, they can't knock us out. And that is a beautiful prize card to see. I really wanted to see that Dark Energy. I really wanted to see that Dark Energy, because now we can go attach to Monkey for turn, assuming they don't, you know, threaten our Pult this turn, because they'd get it to 260 damage, so yeah, we'd actually have to attach to Drakloak for turn. That's fine, though, because like I said, the Risky Ruins is going to help us out here, because we can go Adrenabrain. Ooh, we're taking a 4-prize turn here. This I'm happy with. We are taking a 4-prize turn here. I will need to attach fire here to the Drakloak, though. I can't risk doing it. Okay, that's fine. We know this Pult's dead anyway, but obviously establish double Monkey, we could be in trouble. So, we'll do that. Then, we've already stamped, haven't we? Yes. So yeah, we need to save this Pult, but I need to save the Drakloak as well. But if he gets double Monkey established, we are in trouble. But then again, this is my backup attacker, so either way we're screwed. So, that gets it to 5. We can take out the Snorunt and the Badoo in the same turn. And we can take 4 prizes here. So that I'm pretty happy with. So we'll Recon. Grab a Dodon. We're not going to be establishing our Dodons anymore, because it's too risky to do so. And yeah, we will Phantom Dive. Take out the Snorunt, take out the Badoo, and put 1 on the Snorunt. And that's another reason why we needed to Monkey there. We do take 4 prize cards there, which is pretty nice. And there's the Dunsparce EX. We might need that for boss for game, to be honest. Assuming this don't become a thingy. We might have to plink them with good old Tenacious Tail for 60 and knock out the Snorunt for game, assuming they don't hand disrupt us. But they haven't played an ace bet yet, so I'm suspecting it's Stamp. There's Badoo. We can even win on that now, so you really shouldn't have benched this. Why are you benching this now? I mean, unless he has boss for game. Like, if he has boss for game, it just sucks, but we'll live with it. We'll just give him Monkey. If he has boss for game, so be it. We did what we could. But yeah, he really shouldn't have benched that Badoo. Unless you have game here, you do not bench this. Because I have Adrenabrain. Like, why are you benching this? You've just given me game with Adrenabrain if you do not win this turn. Secret Box gets him it. I'm assuming he's going to have boss. He should. I think most of us are playing 3 boss now. And yep, that's the boss. That's all I needed to see. We'll concede, and that's it. I'll take that loss against Grimmsnarl. We played it pretty well there. You know, we did get quite unlucky. I definitely think Abadu would go in this list, but obviously he did a bit of a risk there. I think Secret Box might have been his top deck, but honestly, I think that went pretty well for this deck. And yeah, we had 2 losses, but we played them out pretty well, and the deck definitely put up quite a bit of a fight. But anyway, so what did I think to the deck? This deck feels really solid. Obviously, the draw power is really nice, but obviously in that matchup specifically, we didn't want to be benching Dunsparce, because obviously all it takes is, you know, Risky Ruins does 20, Adrenabrain does 30, and then obviously the Shadow Bullet does 30 as well, so that's 80 total. You know, like, it's definitely something where, like, I don't know why I was saying Dudunsparce EX, because obviously go for the win in that previous game, so there's probably going to be someone leaving a comment about that, but even then, if he didn't have game with that secret box, we would have just Adrenabrain off the Latias and took game. You know, like, that was risky from him, but I think because he realised he had secret box, he could obviously go for game with, obviously, you know, boss and stuff like that. But honestly, this deck has really proven itself. I think it's definitely a really strong deck. I just think, you know, like, it plays like straight pull, which is fine. But I think with, you know, the Dudunsparce engine, I think there is room to consider it, you know, like being cut. You know, I think the Dudunsparce line is good, but I think you could thin it down a little bit. So 2 Dunsparces, 2 Dudunsparces, 1 Dudunsparce EX. I definitely think the third pull is definitely worth considering. But other than that, really, there wasn't really much that I'd really have to say about this deck. It was just straight pull with, you know, extra draw power. That's pretty much how I see it. And, you know, the candies are nice to have in this list as well. So, you know, I really think this is a good archetype, and I think it's something we need to keep an eye on. But anyway, I'm going to leave this to it for today. Really hope you enjoyed seeing the Dunsparce with Dragapult. 2 words I never thought I'd be saying in the same sentence, but, you know. And, well, I'll see you next time.